Hi everyone, I'm Bita Delisi, and in this video we're going to talk about, does an N4 automatically evict a tenant? Which is probably one of the most common questions we get asked by landlords, because they seem to be of the impression that if a tenant stops paying, that an N4 can be served and the tenant will be automatically evicted. So that is a huge misconception. We're going to talk a little bit about the N4. The N4 is a notice to terminate tenancy for non-payment of rent. It has certain requirements. One of the requirements is that the landlord must file with the Landlord and Tenant Board after the termination date in order for the board to hold a hearing and make a determination. So consider the N4 notice as a warning notice, because if the tenant pays, they void that notice. Number two, however, if the tenant does not pay, a landlord has to file an application, which is called the L1 application, to collect and evict with the Landlord and Tenant Board. Once this application is filed with the board, multiple N4 notices are not required to be served. This application will then be in queue with the Landlord and Tenant Board until a hearing date is set. Usually nowadays you're looking at about a 6-month line before a notice of hearing is provided. Once a landlord has received a notice of hearing, they can prepare to attend the hearing, which means they will now have to update the Landlord and Tenant Board as to the amount of arrears that are owed up until and including the day of the hearing. However, here are what some landlords need to know, because tenants can raise issues in accordance to Section 82 of the Residential Tenancies Act. And these issues are basically reasons why the tenant has stopped paying rent. For whatever reason, I lost my job, I'm sick, I don't have any income, the landlord has not tended to any maintenance, the landlord has ignored my repair request, whatever the case is. These Section 82 issues can be raised in advance, usually around 5 to 7 days prior to the hearing, in advance of the hearing. Now, tenants can also raise concerns in accordance to Section 83 of the Residential Tenancies Act. And what that section pertains to is why the board should consider delaying or denying an eviction. Again, for whatever reason. I'm sick, I can't move in the wintertime, I'm a single mother, I don't have the income, I need additional time, whatever the case is. After the hearing, the board will make a determination and issue an order, usually 30 to 60 days after the hearing. However, in our experience, sometimes it takes a little bit longer. Once you receive an order with the determinations, then there's a section in the order which would include a termination date. And if the tenant does not vacate within that termination date or by that termination date, the landlord can apply to the enforcement office of the sheriff to book a date and a time for an eviction, which right now can take anywhere from about 3 to 6 weeks. So to answer your question, does an N4 automatically evict the tenant? No, because at the end of the day, it's going to be up to the Landlord and Tenant Board as to the fate of that tenancy. I hope you found this video informative. If you have any questions, always call us first.